My name is Chantal Chadwick. My spirit name is Butterfly Woman. I am from the Algonquins over in Pikwakanagan. I moved to Pembroke 4 years ago to start a healing journey with myself and my 2 children. And on that journey, I was given some teachings, and one of them was the dream catchers. So today I'm going to teach you how to web your own dream catcher. What I use is just a regular brass hoop. You can get them at Michael's. I'm sure you can find them if you're close to a reserve that sells products. I'm sure you can find it in a lot of different craft stores as well. I use the faux suede, and that comes, it's a stretchy material. It's very viable, strong. I also use little needles to help me when I get to the center of my dream catcher. And I just buy them at, these I think I bought at a Heart store. You may find them at Dollar Store or Michael's. I also use my sinuin, and that is the manufactured sinuin. I also use some little scissors. I use a lighter. You could use this this kind of glue for your fabric to try and glue it to your brass hoop. You could also use a glue gun like I use. So we'll get started with the teaching of the dream catcher. Our ancestors would utilize all parts of the animal when they were harvesting. They would use tree branches as their rings to make their, the base of their dream catcher. They would use the hide from the animal. They would use the ligaments to use for the sinuin. They would also use pine gum. They would just tie knots, and then they would web the inside of their dream catchers and put little trinkets in it. The meaning behind the dream catcher is the web is there to catch your bad dreams. Now, when the sun comes up in the morning, your bad dreams that are caught with inside the webs and in the trinkets will burn off with the sunrise. All of your good dreams will go through and will help you through your journey in life. I truly believe in the spirit world and our creator and our ancestors, that they're walking with us and guiding us through our daily life. Now, sometimes they would use the bones or the antlers and they would carve things out of it. You can use beads. You can use gemstones. I guess I showed the wrong camera there. These are just pony beads that I purchased. You can get it at Michael's. You can get it. I got it at our local museum on the reserve. So when you start your dream catcher, you're going to start it with a little tack of glue. So I've already started to wrap my hoop. Today's video is not about rushing through to get it finished. If you need any help, you can always contact me on Facebook. I can always pass off my personal phone number, cell phone, if you'd like to communicate that way. I'm very open to sharing my teachings and hoping that you're able to get everything from beginning to end. So this will be my start. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm just going to tack a little bit of glue on my hoop. And then I'm just going to wrap right around the hoop. Now I usually do about 15 wraps before I tack the glue again. Your fingers and your thumbs will get sore. But with practice, and the more you do it, it gets easier. When I first started making my dream catchers, it would take me hours. Now I can do a dream catcher in about an hour and a half, if I don't have, interruptions in with daily life. I'm a single mom with 2 children. My daughter is 12 and my son is going to be 14 in a couple of weeks. They are both on the spectrum, so life is a little bit busy, and I find that it helps when I'm able to sit down and do my crafts and fulfill some orders that I'm grateful to be receiving, and opportunities like this to do a workshop and teach others. So I'm very grateful for Figment in Toronto and Roxanne and her crew, who've been working very hard to allow this to happen. So I'm going to tack my glue. I know I think I went more than 15, but you can also use white school glue. You can try using Gorilla Glue. I suggest that the Gorilla Glue, you have to be very careful because it is very sticky. The hot glue gun, that's hot and you could get burned. So you have to be very careful. But you could also just tie your beginning, instead of using glue to secure it in place. You could tie a knot and leave a strand to, when you get to the end, you'll be able to tie it together and you'll have a hook, like, can't even think of the word. I put a little bit of too much glue there, but that's okay, because when it dries, we can just peel that off. That's why I like the hot glue gun. And I use clear glue sticks, and it's also the Gorilla Glue hot glue gun and glue sticks that I bought at Walmart. I also use different parts of my body to help me make and get the dream catcher finished. I use my hands, I'll use my legs and my knees, and I'll also use my belly sometimes to hold my hoop in place. I've learned along my journey that we're given our tools from birth, and we don't sometimes understand what all those tools and things are for until we're older and we can understand what the creators put on our path. So now for the hoop, this is a 5-inch hoop, and is it a 5-inch? Yeah, I think so. I've used 5 arm lengths. So when I first started, I took my faux suede and I held it with my fingers, and I just pull it until both arms are stretched out, and then I just hold there, and then I'll do that again, and I do that 5 times. Now if there's too much, that's okay, because you always have the tassels at the bottom of your dream catcher where your feathers and your beads will hang off of. Excuse me. So now that I'm coming to the end of my hoop, you might not be at the same spot as me, but that's okay. I can just talk with you and see if you need any help of, wrapping our hoop is pretty simple. It is time consuming. I suggest sometimes a smaller hoop to start. It's harder because you're not able to use the different parts of your body to finish your dream catcher. So I think this is a nice size to teach others how to make a dream catcher. So we'll finish off this hoop. I've also started a second hoop. I do a lot of different teachings, but I usually just do record the video. This is my first time doing a Zoom teaching, and it's very wonderful. It's very nice to see the participants that I'm sharing my knowledge with, and I'm able to see and be accepted in your circle. So miigwech for that. So we'll just finish off this hoop really quick, and then we'll get all of I have all of my supplies ready to go to start the webbing. I have my beads ready. I've also used little hairpin bones, and I got that also at my local museum. Sure, you could get them at Michael's. I know you can order online at from Beaded Dreams in Ottawa. You could also order from iBeads in Wanapate. And that's ordering without having a business account, and not having to purchase or fuss with any kind of, it's straight ordering. You put your name, your address, all your credentials, whatever you need, your payment information, and then they deliver it right to your home. And it's wonderful that they're out there and allowing us access. I know it's hard with John Beads. You have to own a business, or you have to have a business number to be able to order from there. So I'm very grateful for my museum over at my home, Pikwakanagan, and they order and help the community with supplies that they need for their items and crafts. I also make moccasins. I've learned how to do different beading. I'm doing beaded poppies at the moment. And I'm doing dream catchers in between. Also learning the different teachings, so that I can continue to share with my community and outside of my community. So I'm just going to finish this now. Still see that going on. And once we get to the end, we're just going to tack a glue again and then fit them together where it started there. Now, if we didn't have any glue, we would have tied a knot here at the beginning, and then we could have wrapped this last little bit and then tied a knot so that they would have been knotted together here, and then you would have had your own little. So if you don't have a glue gun or any access to any other kinds of glue, you could do it like that. But you have to remember that the minute so if you need to take a break because your fingers and your hands are sore, not to keep it in place. So I'll just finish off my last bit by burning or putting some hot glue gun. There we go. And at the end, you want to give it a little bit of a pull so that it's nice and secure. And when we do cut this little end off, you're not going to it's not going to come apart on you. So we'll give that a few seconds to cool off. And we'll get our sinew ready. The sinew is the same thing. You take from your tip of your finger, you go you go 1 arm length, and then you go 5 times so that you have enough to get you right to the center. If you don't, you could always use less. If you think because you can always tie on. You can always tie sinew and put a bead where the knot is, and you wouldn't even know that you've used a second piece of sinew. If there's too much in your 5 arm lengths for your hoop, that's okay, because you can use it to stitch something together. You can use it for a smaller dream catcher. I have a container of all little pieces of different colors of sinew, just because I like to make sure that I have more than enough than not enough. So now I'm going to use my needle, and I'm going to thread my sinew. I just do this, it makes it a little bit more secure. So we're going here. So this is what I've done. I've put it through, I've looped it through my needle. Now I'm going to bring the needle through the hole, and I'm going to pull. So it sort of goes right around your needle, and it's secure. So then you're going to go right to the end of your sinew. Now, this is where I utilize all parts of my body. I set it up between my knees. I'll just cut off the end of my tassel, and the glue will clean that up once we're all done. So we're going to tie a knot to begin, double knot it. Now we're going to leave this little piece here until the very end. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our sinew. I'm just going to untangle here. So this is how we're going to start. My thread's coming on one side. My needle is going to come up through the inside, and I'm going to pull all my sinew through. It could get tangled, so just take your time, because you're here to learn. So pull it through. Now I use my finger as a guide. I go from the edge of my finger like this, and I go 1 fingertip over, so that we're going to have a space like that. Now we're going to do that again. Our sinew is on the one side of the hoop, and my needle, I'm going to come up underneath, through, and pull all my sinew through. And this is giving us our base to start. So now we're going to go up to here. We're going to pull that down. And you see how it's got a little bit of a cross? So now we're going to line up our finger. You could also use dental floss. You could also use like a thin rope. You could also use twine to do the inside of the dream catcher. So now bring that back up. We're getting that crossover again. Pull that down. Now, if you make your spacings any smaller, you have to remember that once you get inside, they're going to be very, very tiny. That's why I use the needle. But I've seen over time with the dream catchers that I've made, the finger spacing that I use is a nice size, and it makes a nice dream catcher. I know that this workshop is about an hour. Usually when you first start making dream catchers, it could take you up to 2 hours to do a dream catcher. But don't worry, even if you can't get it finished, like I said, I'm willing to pass on my Facebook information or my personal information, so that we can communicate, so that you could get your dream catcher finished. And also that they'll be their recording, so you'll be able to come back and look at the video to help yourself get through where you're stuck from, or carry on, or just need to just get a reminder of everything that we need, or what the teaching is about. And like anything, when you're crafting, you're cooking, you're even dancing or singing, you're always thinking and having good thoughts, and that is to help to just to make your own soul happy, and then it carries on to others. So I'm very grateful for everybody that's here today. So now I'll just finish up this first row, and then we'll carry on to the second row. I'm hoping that everybody is close, to either getting your hoop finished, being wrapped, or you're on the webbing right now. You could also web the hoop first. I've done it. And then you could wrap after, which also looks very beautiful. You can't really tell that you didn't wrap it first. I usually just wrap some hoops so that when I'm ready to do either an order, or just to be able to give people that dream catcher, because like it does take time, and the work is beautiful, but sometimes people can't afford the cost that some are asking. So I take into consideration that I'm a single mom, and I'm not the only single person, or so I try to be fair with my pricings. I'm not out to make $1 million. I actually give dream catchers away also. I've hung some at our local marina during this COVID time to help people have some good dreams and maybe some peaceful slumber. So now that I've come to the end of the hoop and we can't go anymore, we're going to start our next section. And that section, this part here, we're going to consider that our hoop now. And I'm just going to change things around. I find it easier. Well, it's not change things around, but it looks like everything has changed because of what we're using instead of the hoop. So now we're just going back through that first section that we made. And I'll show you once I get all this sinew pulled through. We're still doing the crossover. And now our sinew here has become our hoop. And we're going to go through the next one. And then back through the middle. And then you'll pull all your sinew through. And then you'll pull it. And we'll do that again for this one. And oh, I see my little kitties in the video here. That's Miss Tia. We rescued her a few years ago when we moved to the area. So now we're going to continue going around our hoop, doing this repetitive crossover and through. And then you'll see, once it starts pulling, you'll see your shape start to take place. If you wanted to put your trinket on it, you could, this is where you would do it now. You'd get your bead and you would put your bead and slide it all the way down. I'm just doing a simple dream catcher today for you so that you can see. So now we'll go through and finish off this section of our dream catcher. Welcome to any newcomers to the group. Even if you aren't able to finish your dream catcher today, I'll pass on my information so that you can communicate with me to try and get your dream catcher finished, or you can wait and look at the video that Figment Toronto is going to be putting up later and use that as your reference. Now, our ancestors, when they were using the different parts of their catch that they've harvested for their family, they have to prep their supplies, what they need. The ligaments, they would soak and it would become pliable. They would chew on it a little bit to soften it and make it more usable. The hide, they would hang it and they would scrape it and clean it. There's different teachings on how to prep your animal and how to care for it. Like I said earlier, the bones, the antlers, they would use and carve different symbols and designs. They would hang that inside their dream catchers to help the bad dreams get caught so that they're burnt off in the morning when the sun rises, and then they're trickled down the tassels and disappear. So now we've come back to the beginning of our hoop where we started. So now we're going to just carry on, keep going around your dream catcher. It's a repetitive, it's in and out. If you'd like to change the color of your sinew, you can also do that at this point. You just cut your sinew, you get your other piece, you would tie a knot, you would burn your two ends a little bit so that when you pull them apart, they secure. But I won't be doing that today. I do have a YouTube page that I've just started to also share my videos of the different teachings of items that I craft, and I have a Facebook page that I also share my videos, Mama Bears and Cubs Crafts. My children are also part of that group and part of crafting items as we were doing the powwows and different craft shows. But since COVID started, things changed a little bit. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be able to sit down and take the time to do a dream catcher and share my teachings and some of my story of who I am and where I come from. So I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I thank each of you for coming and taking the time out of your day to learn how to make a dream catcher and be part of my circle. Um, So now the sinew is a little bit sticky. It's got a waxy consistency to it, I guess you can say. But I've never had a dream catcher that I've made come apart. I don't separate my sinew. I use the full piece because, as you can see, you can probably separate this into many little pieces. But like anything in life, everything gets worn down over time. So I'd like my dream catchers to last a lifetime for people. So I use everything. Um, and I put all the love that I have and only wonderful, great thoughts, because our world is harsh enough, and with this change in how we interact and how we greet has completely changed. I'm a very affectionate person. I like to give, my hugs, and now I'm learning that I have to shake hands or do fist pumps or, just do a little wave from a distance. So it's very hard. But we can only keep positive and pray that our Creator knows that this is a time for people to heal and, rejuvenate and try to re-energize and see the world in a different eye, even if it's just for that brief moment. I'm going to be using turkey feathers today for the tassels. You could use feathers that you buy at Walmart. You could use feathers that you buy at Michael's. Even if you find feathers when you're out walking, you could also use those feathers, because those feathers are put on your path for a reason, and you should take the time to try and understand what that reason is. Sometimes we don't get it right off, but it comes to us at some point or another. And I'm slowly learning that. So now I'm going to use my legs to try and keep my dream catcher in place. And we're going to keep that repetitive motion going. We're going through and then up and pull your sinew through. I've just learned how to make ribbon skirts also, and I was grateful for that opportunity. And now I'm able to pass that teaching on, as well as help others and make them their ribbon skirts. So we're just going to continue going through, and it gets easier as you're getting through, because your sinew is getting shorter and you're catching the repetitiveness of, oh, look at that. I just hooped my mouse right into my sinew. Okay. Well, made a little knot. So I'll just take my needle off, nice sinew. And I will pull it all back through. And I think we're at our, well, we've passed our my halfway mark. I know that we're able to record or be here till 1. And if you're unable to stay, I thank you for being here. And like I said, if you need any help, you can search me up on Facebook. It goes Chantal Chadwick, or I think I have it maybe backwards, Chadwick Chantal. You could also wait for the video from Fidgement to come out. We could also try to communicate through text if you're more comfortable with that. I'm open to helping you in the best way that I can to finish your dream catcher. So you can see now that your pattern is going to start once you start getting into the middle of your dream catcher. So I'll just do this like this so you can see it, the pattern happening a little bit easier. Like I said, when I do my videos, I usually just have my phone set up. I record it and then I share it on my Facebook site, or I share it on my YouTube channel, or I email it to whoever needs it. This is the first time I do a Zoom workshop, and it's very, very awesome that Zoom and Eventbrite have gotten together and you know, allowed this to happen. And Fidgement Toronto, they had everything set up. We did a pre-trial, which was great. And I'm grateful that they have this opportunity that they've given to artists and in the Toronto area. And I'm grateful because I'm not in the Toronto area that my video or my application was accepted. I know that my journey is on the right path and going in the right direction. And sometimes I don't have enough self-esteem and my own confidence to keep that going. So I'm just gonna do this real quick. Try to show you guys again. Use a different background, maybe you can see how it's gonna start to come together. Yeah. Oh, that's a nicer. You can see where your flower petals or your web will start to take place. Okay. Oh, sorry, little girl. Okay. Where has everybody gotten? Are we done wrapping? Have you started your webbing? I mean, it's okay. You don't have to communicate. Both hands are busy. I can understand that. I just hope that everybody's getting along well and able to see that there'll be a beautiful outcome once this is all done. Now, the different tensions you use while pulling your sinew or your dental floss or your rope will also determine how your pattern will take shape. You would think it's a circle, your spacings are the same, but your pattern inside will go sometimes one direction or the other. And that's just all on the different, tensions that you use while you're pulling your sinew. It could be that you're thinking something really funny and oh Jesus, you pulled out a little too hard, or which is okay. It just makes your dream catcher unique. No dream catcher is the same. No pattern will be the same, because each web has its own place. So now you can see we're getting closer to the center, and this is where we started. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds through our dream catcher, and it won't be, I'm going to say about three more turns around, maybe 4, and that will give us our center. I know there was, I know I got a message, so I'm just going to check that. Love the ribbon skirt. Oh, thank you very much, Adrian. Hello. When I'm wrapping the hoop, if I run out of wrap, how do I attach the next? Okay, that's a good question. Thank you. If you run out of your wrap, all you would do is start gluing from where you finished. And if you haven't used glue, the unfortunate part is you might have to start over. Unless you have a big hoop that you're gonna use to hang. So instead of it just being a little piece here that's going to be, that you have left over if we would have tied it at the beginning, you could use it, you can have it here and you can say here, and then it would be just a bigger hanging. Does that make sense? I can't even think of the word, but yeah, that's the other part, is it takes a lot of learning, trials and error to get your numbers correct. I've learned that I always give more so that I don't run into trouble in the end. And anything that I have left over, like my hoop, I used 5 arm lengths. That's what I had left over. I was hoping to have enough to do a tassel. That's not even enough to do a tassel. So this piece, I would just take my loss on it and throw it away. Or I could use it on a keychain dream catcher that's, about that small. But other than that, for something like that, it's not a worry. So you always try to use more so that you don't run out. So I'm just going to finish off this dream catcher, and then I will do our tassels. I have all my beads ready. My feathers are ready to go. Like I said, I'm using turkey feathers that I was given to by family members and friends, and I'm very grateful for. Excuse me. So, and as you get to your center, you're going to pull a little bit tighter, but not too tight that you can't get your sinew through, because you don't need a needle to do the inside of your dream catcher. So if you just burn the end of your sinew, it'll stay together. So it will help you. So now that it is starting to take shape. Once you get more into the center of your dream catcher, you're going to notice the shape taking place of the web. I'm just going to push this up just a little bit. I think I was popping out of screen a little bit on yous. I hope everybody's having beautiful weather wherever you are. Today we're overcast, cool, but there's no snow. It's not raining. So I'm very grateful. I know the snow is coming. The change is needed. And it'll probably give me some more time to get some of my crafting done. I'd like to make a couple more poppies for my family, and I have a pair of moccasins that my aunt ordered, so I'd have to do some beading on the top of that before I can put that together. The full sinew, like the one that's manufactured, this comes in many different colors. You can get red, you can get white, you can get black, you can get the natural tan color, turquoise, purple, green, hot pink. So there's lots of different options available to people that that want to make dream catchers and share their talent. And because I know it's important for me to be able to share with others the gift that I've been given and the opportunity to have peaceful slumbers and have a piece of beautiful art without having to decide, well, do we take it out of the telephone bill, or do we just try to wait and hopefully find it again? I don't like seeing people have to go through that, and so I like to give because I've been given so much already, and I know the importance and the feeling that I got when I was given. So I like to give back, whether it's to my family and friends or my community. Okay, this is coming along beautiful. Now hoops come in all different sizes. They come from 1-inch hoops. They can go right up to 28-inch hoops. I have a 28-inch hoop that I'm webbing in the 4 colors. So it's a little bit of it's time consuming because we're changing our sinew out every I don't know, 5 minutes or so. So it's a big job, and 28 inches it's beautiful. And with that hoop, I have to use my feet. So I try to use all parts of my body to help me get through the work that I need to do. So now that I'm at the end, I'm gonna just use my knees to try and get the middle of the webbing done without delay. So remember, if you didn't cut enough sinew for your webbing inside either, you would just do the same thing. You would just get another piece, you would tie them together in a knot, and then you would burn your ends, and then give a little bit of a tug and secure it, and then carry on. And if you didn't want your section to show where you ran out and reattached, then you would just put a bead, or you can put a little trinket or a little feather. My fingers are a little bit tacky from the sinew. So sometimes if you're going too fast, you might just pull and it goes right through, and or you pull too hard and it's stuck in your fingers. So once we get to the middle, it starts getting very small. So I'll just try and show you here. I hope there was no echo for anybody here. Okay, so now we're gonna just pull that. Bring your next section through. And we still have that crossover. See, we've never changed how we're going in and through and then back up to get that cross. So now I'll give a little bit of a tension pull, and you'll see everything start to pull together. And then you'll just use your finger to see how I did that. Now you don't want your hole very, very small, because then your dreams, they say you don't want it too small, and you don't want it too big. When I first started making them, I had big center holes, and I was told by one of my uncles, who I consider an elder and a knowledge keeper, that he said that dream catcher is for someone who has big bad dreams. So I try to just keep in mind that we want to keep our circle center not too big but not too small. So this is where I'm going to stop. But all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through each hole and just wrap. We're not going through anything. We're not going back through each other. We're just doing a continuous wrap around your center. You don't have to go all the way around. It's just to be able to give you a little bit of a secure end. And then you're going to hoop through, and we're going to tie a knot. So now I've hooped through that, and we're going to tie a knot. Just a regular knot. Pull it down to the end. So you see how there's just a little knot there right here. It's just a regular knot that I've done. Now I'm going to get my scissors. We'll cut. And then this is how much sinew I have left from my 5 arm lengths. Now I won't throw this away because I can use it for a smaller hoop to web. So I'll just put that in my box. And now I'm going to see this little part here. we're just going to take our lighter and burn it, just so that you burn it in place so that it doesn't come apart. Now we'll go to the back, to the beginning. We're going to cut that little tail that we started with. We're not going to cut it too short because you don't want it to unfurl before you can burn it, so that your beginning is secured. And then you just rub it up against your ring, and then I'll cut the rest of this little tip off. Now we'll get the black faux suede to make our tassels. And these are the turkey feathers. They've got a nice shimmer at the end. And it's just, so now we're just going to take our faux suede and we're going to cut a piece, we're going to double it so that it's like this. Now you take your hoop and you decide how long you want your tassels to be. And I think that's a nice length. So I'll just cut this, and then you can even use leather for your wrap. You can use yarn. So this is a length from the tip of my fingers up to my shoulder about. And that'll be the length of the tassel that I'm going to put on. So this is where we started, and that's where I'll put my piece to hang it. So I'm going to come straight down to the bottom, and this is where I'm going to put my first tassel. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your two pieces, bring it up through the sinew and your hoop. You're going to grab your two ends. You're going to pull them together so it actually does like a loop. And then your tassel is hanging down. So I'll go and I'll do two more like that. So I'll bring it and I'll cut it. And then I'll measure my second. That one. And then we'll put our second tassel on. So you want to, this is your centerpiece. So you can do it anywhere you'd like. I like to do them about here, so that, oops, lost that one. So I was saying, I like to do it, you know, maybe my hand length away. And we're going to go through the material, or through the hoop and the sinew. So we're through there again. And that'll have enough to hold it in place. And then we'll just turn that down. See? So now I'll put the third one on. And then we'll put our feathers and our beads. So I'm doing that. So pull that about here, in there. And I need one for the top. So we'll use that little piece that I had left over. And we're going to go through where we started the same way. Two pieces together. Bring your fingers around inside your hoop. And then we'll have our little piece to hang it. Tie a little knot in the end. I guess maybe I could have done that before to make it a little bit easier. So now we'll just flip it upside down. I'm going to add my beads. I picked 3 solid turquoise and 3 shiny and 1 So I'll put these ones on, and I'm going to start with a solid blue. Then I'm going to use a shiny blue. You can use any style, any pattern. Oops, I lost a shiny one. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'll put my white hair bone, and then I will do, what is my pattern here? Oh, dark, and then shiny, and dark. And we're just going to tie a knot in the end of our faux suede so that it'll hang like that. So I'll do this one here. So for your products, again, you're going to need a 5-inch hoop or any size of hoop. You can use, you can buy the brass hoops. You can buy them at Michael's. You can buy them at a local reservation if you're close to one. And if they sell that, I'm very grateful that ours does. And they're and then you're going to also need your sinew or your floss or string, and you'll need some glue and some needles if you'd like. You will also need some feathers and beads. And the beads you can get at Walmart or different craft stores in your area. So see how I'm doing 2 here at a time. But if you're not able to, that's okay. You go at your own speed. I'm here to help. If you need outside help, you can look me up on Facebook, Chantal Chadwick, or my Facebook site, Mama Bears and Cubs Crafts. You can come and join the group and see some videos, or you can watch the video from Fidgement once they've posted it, and or I'm sure there's many tutorials on YouTube that show different kinds of teachings. And oh, I think I didn't give myself enough beads. I'm gonna have to pull out my container. Get some beads. Now I'll put my last pony beads on these 2 tassels, and then I will put on the feathers, and then we have crafted a beautiful dream catcher. And if you don't have sage, I like to smudge my dream catchers once I'm done making them, just so I can ask the creator to help the person have wonderful sleep and beautiful dreams. And so my last two beads are on, and I'll just tie my knots. Okay. And if you don't like the lengths that you know I have here, you can make the middle one longer. You could make them all shorter. It all just depends on what you feel and how you want your dream catcher to look. So now I'll get my glue gun. I'll get my feathers, and I will. All you do is you slide your feather up into the beads, and then you just do a little tack with your glue gun. Careful you don't pull your feathers out and you don't burn your fingers. And you slide it into place. Now, if your dream catcher is just going to be hanging in your room in the wind, like your window's not going to be opened, or because you hang your dream catcher in a window so that when the sun comes up, it doesn't have to be directly in the sunrise for your dreams, your bad dreams to be burnt off. It's the thought of it being in the window and being available for sunrise. And I see Aunt Pat, you're wrapping your hoop. You've got your, you're starting your webbing now. Beautiful. Okay. And then we've got two more after this one. And like I said, I use all kinds of feathers when I'm driving down the road. If I see you know, a bird that didn't make it, I offer my tobacco to the Creator and thank them for putting the winged animal on my path. And I prep the bird. I make a spirit plate and ask the Creator for guidance with the feathers. I've come across blue jays. I've come across woodpeckers. I've come across just chickadees. If they hit the window, you know. So this is my last one for the feather. And then we have a dream catcher. Now, like I said, wrapping the hoop is the biggest job. But it's you can always wrap it at another point if you don't have anything that you're able to use. So this is the dream catcher. We've used the faux suede on the outside of the ring. I used 5 arm lengths for this size of hoop. I've used the manufactured cinnamon on the inside. This is the turquoise color. And I used 5 arm lengths, which worked out to be more than enough. I also used 3 half arm length to do my tassels. I've used 6, 12. What was that? So I've used 6 on each, plus the bone bead, and then the feathers. Now I'll smudge this dream catcher, and I will pass it on to somebody. You could make your hoop using cedar branches. You could make it also using, if you're close to the forest, there's vines. You could also use, what else would you be able to use in the forest? Yeah, branches, vines. And with your branches, when you cut them, that would be the best time to shape your branch, tie it, and then let it sit to dry. And then you would use your sinew or your floss, dental floss, or like twine that you can buy at the dollar store, or Walmart, or what else could you use for the inside? You can use, well, the leather for the hoop, to wrap your hoop. You can use wool to wrap your hoop. You can use material to wrap your hoop if you don't have access to the faux suede. Just gonna see. Okay, when you get to the end of your hoop, you would just use your sinew or your glue gun or your white glue and glue it together, or you can tie them together. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Sorry if what thread did you say you used for covering the hoop? It's a faux suede, and it comes on hoop on spools. And I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, faux suede. That's what I use. Okay. And it feels like a soft, like suede. It's very strong. So if you, okay, well, you don't pull that hard, but it's got some strength to it. So, but you could, like I said, you can use, I know my cousin, she uses wool to wrap your hoop, her hoops when she makes dream catchers. I also use the actual leather. You can go to Value Village, find old purses or old leather coats, and use that to cut your strips out of. You could also use, I wouldn't use shoelaces. I don't know how well that would turn out. You might have to use a few shoelaces, unless you can find one really long. Any kind of material, I'm sure you could use to make a dream catcher. Like I said, in my teachings, our ancestors didn't have access to brass hoops. They didn't have access to faux suedes or yarn or material. They would utilize all parts of the animals that they would harvest, whether it be moose, deer, caribou, bear, the winged animals for all the feathers. But I'm very grateful that I was given this teaching that I'm able to share with others for to help with peaceful sleeps and taking away your bad dreams. And I'm grateful for Fidgement Toronto for allowing me this opportunity to teach everyone, and hopefully you were able to learn how to web a dream catcher, and you learned the teaching. Again, my name is Chantal Chadwick. You can find me on Facebook if you need any kind of help. If you want, the video will be up again with Fidgement, so that's wonderful, and you can share it, I guess, or you can keep it for yourself. But I think sharing is always the best. So, but this is the dream catcher. And you can see the different pattern that happens. They go in. Now, if you were to put beads or trinkets, you can put some all the way through. I've made dream catchers where I've had all the 4 colors, and they've just weaved in, so the yellow and then the white and the black. And I got a comment here. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Miigwech, Patty, Miigwech, Marilena. I'm grateful for everybody being part of my circle today and allowing me to come into your circle. I wish you a wonderful day and wish the Creator guide over you. Miigwech.
Thank you, Chantal. This was lovely. I was here the whole time, and as you can see, I had some of my own questions. This was wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us, and everybody who was able to participate today. It may take us a little bit of time. We're probably going to get the video up over the weekend because we have a lot of back-to-back workshops happening between now and the 2nd of November. So us 3 volunteer girls over here running Figment right now are pretty up to our eyeballs. But we will get it out to everybody as soon. So maybe if you need something straight away, yes, please contact Chantal directly.
Yes, please.
Get things up as soon as we can. Just thank you for everything. This is really a big part of why we as Figment do it. We're just here to sort of bring people together and have people to participate. And virtual is brand new for us. So this was, again, another smashing success. And I really, really look forward to seeing everybody's dream catchers. I did have one more question. I know it was kind of buried in our comments, was sizes. Does the size of the dream catcher have any kind of significance or difference to its meaning? Or
no?
I've been given different ones. Like, you know, when my first child, when I was pregnant for him, I was given a little one, and it was white, and it had all very specific details. We still have it and things. But I just wondered if the sizes make any difference in any way.
I wasn't taught in my teachings that the size has any boundary on it. It's all on the preference of the artist, I guess, when you're making it, and as well as the person that it's going to either be given to or the person that's purchasing it. It all depends on that. But like our ancestors, there was no, they didn't have big windows, so they would be hanging outside of the teepees and stuff by their doorways, and so. But you know, it depends on if you have your big picture window in your living room, which is, my picture window is 10 feet wide. A little dream catcher like this would be nice, but it wouldn't fill that space. So I made a bigger one for my front window. And in the bedrooms, you know, you don't want, if it's little children, you don't want them to be able to grab it and pull or get stuck or, you know, choke or anything like that. Not that they can't touch it and handle it, because I mean, you could hold it and you could squeeze it and pull it, and it stays the shape, it stays like it. I mean, it's,
Really,
but I wouldn't want anybody to get hurt. So it would all depend on, you know, being mindful of where it's going and who it's being given to.
well, I asked because I was curious, but also my youngest one, because he turned around to me and one time, and all of this kind of brought this back to me. He's like, I have big bad dreams. I think I need a bigger dream catcher to catch them all. Mummy, I just, I just don't think that this is big enough. And we just had like a little tiny one. It's hanging and it's in a special space. And he had to have it like in a very particular spot close to him. And he was very determined about that's where it had to be. But his thing was, I think it needs to be bigger. And I assured him, I said, no, I think it's perfectly fine
Yeah.
if you trust it. If you trust that this system
Yeah.
work for you, then everything should be hunky-dory. So
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, on his behalf, when I talk to him later, I can say, well, I spoke to a lady who knows what she's talking about. And she said, so I thought I would ask the question on his
And
behalf.
you could always tell them too that, well, let's take it off the wall and let's talk to the creator, or if it's God, or, you know, however you call your, you know, whatever you believe in. And you can say, like, I have these big bad dreams, can you please, you know, guide over me and take those dreams away. Because like you said, it's what's in our heart that really matters at the end of the day. So even if you're walking around with a 2-inch dream catcher, those dreams are going to be caught and they're going to be taken away. And I believe that very, very much.
Awesome.
And you can also smudge it if you have access to sage or sweetgrass,
Right.
to say, okay, we've cleansed it, and, you know, all the old bad dreams are gone. Now it has room for those big ones. And
Right.
yeah,
Excellent. Okay, great. I will let him know.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for joining us.